All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. And I want to talk to you today about creating some momentum in your life and finding some ways to kind of push through to the next level. So if this is your first time listening, listen, I'm happy to be here with you every day, but I do the Daily Mastermind for myself. I started it for myself. We're 1,200 episodes now into it, but we've had hundreds of thousands of downloads of people that just really have also felt very similar to what I feel like, which is that every day it's a battle for your mind. Every day it's a battle to create your best life. And I do believe, and I say it all the time, it's never too late to start creating the life you're meant to live. But I think that there are core areas of your life that you've got to constantly bring yourself back to. One is personal mastery. Personal mastery is that idea that you are going to grow your mind, body, money, your mind and body and spirit. And, we're always evolving and becoming better versions of ourselves, but what is it you're trying to become? And so we'll talk about that today, a little bit about what your vision is, but your daily mastermind with me is to constantly remind you of the things that you're trying to do with personal mastery. I also believe that business mastery is going to be a key. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a CEO, business owner, high achiever, um, entrepreneur. And so you've learned over time that it helps to associate. The power of the mastermind is very, very strong. If you've read Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill, you know that you can learn and associate with people that are also aligned with you moving in the same direction. So business mastery are ideas and strategies I've learned over the last 30 years being around and behind in marketing for some of the biggest thought leaders and celebrities and experts in the world. And then that final area I like to really hit is money mastery. Many, many people I know are super successful and have not managed their money properly. And so I've got some great context and connections, strategies, and tactics that I'll share. But personal business and money mastery is really about the elements you need to create your best life and to create a lifestyle that as a entrepreneur, business owner, or CEO, high achiever, you want to live. That freedom of having your own business and creating a life and a lifestyle that you're meant to live. And so today I want to just take a minute and I want to kind of bring you back to a core framework that I go back to every quarter or so. You've probably heard me talk about it at least once before on the podcast if you've been a listener for a while. I do it kind of every year or so, but I follow a framework about every quarter that I go back and I check with to make sure that I'm on progress and there aren't areas of my life that I'm leaving hanging. And I call them the 8 keys to creating your best life. 8 keys to creating your best life. It's sort of a roadmap that I've established that helps me to redefine, realign, or reset my goals. Because there are times in your life when you kind of question whether or not you're making the right moves, whether or not everything's being done right, you're on the path. Sometimes you question what you're even doing. But what these 8 keys, these 8 key steps are designed to do is to help you to kind of refocus and realign no matter where you are, what you're doing. Maybe if you're behind or maybe you're crushing it, but you just can't get to that next level. These are areas that I believe will help you to go to the next level. And so I want to kind of go through these a little bit. And they're ones that apply to both your personal, which actually to your personal, your business, and your finances, your money, because they are designed to be an overall life path, life steps. So let me take you through these 8 keys, these 8 steps, and then I'm going to break them down over the next little while. I think it's really important because I've got a lot of ideas and strategies that have worked, key concepts and tactics that I've learned over the years from other people that I think will help you in each of these areas. But let me give you a brief overview today so that you can go through them. The first step is vision. I think it's so important for you to go back and keep expanding and setting a clear vision of your life, where you want to be. What version of yourself do you want to become? What do you want your business to look like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? Where do you want your finances and your money to be? You need to be able to clearly set that vision in order to find the path to get there. And so vision is the place to start. Then you go to clarity. Step 2 is clarity. You've got to clarify and crystallize the path that you're going to use to get there, the steps and direction you need to take to reach your goals. Because when you have a really strong vision, you need to identify the specific, clear path that you're going to take to get there. Now, I'm not saying you have to have all the answers, but there are always activities and tasks and productivity and action steps you need to take to get you where you need to go. And so you got to get clear on what those are. And then third, you go into decision mode. You've got to make some key decisions and commitments that will keep you on the path. And one of the things that I've learned over time is that when you have a clear vision and clarity around your path, making decisions also becomes very simple, because successful individuals have to make decisions quickly and confidently. You can't constantly question whether this move is right or move is wrong. You've got to make decisions quickly and confidently. And so one of the ways to do that is you then go to step 4, which is you create and flood yourself with certainty. So as you got a vision, you clarify the steps and path you're taking, and you make some core decisions. Flooding yourself with certainty is super important, because we've all been there. When you're operating outside your comfort zone, a lot of times you question your moves. You question what you're doing. You might be feeling, am I qualified for this? Well, you're not, because if you're operating outside your comfort zone, which you should, you're going to question yourself. But when you flood yourself with certainty by surrounding yourself by the right people, the right environment, you have daily practices and rituals that keep you moving forward, it's going to bolster your confidence, and it's going to bolster your confidence in your choices and decisions. So certainty is a very key step that I think a lot of people leave out. And then step 5, the 5th key, is action. Like Tony Robbins says, we have to flood ourselves, where we have to take all out massive action, because so many of us get caught up in the planning and details. I do that myself. Organizing, you're outside your comfort zone, so you're trying to get really clear on what action you need to take instead of just taking action. Fail 5 times faster. Fail forward. You've got to take massive action in order to actually move the needle. So get yourself flooded with certainty and then take action. And then the 6th step is discipline. Now, discipline is going to come from consistent daily rituals and daily actions, but it's not something that, I think mental discipline is a very, very important thing, but it's not something you're just born with. You can develop the skill of discipline, and you develop that skill as a process. So you have to be moving forward. You have to be taking action in order to create discipline. But I do believe if you focus on this step and your goal is to have discipline, daily discipline, this is going to help you to go to the next level. It's one of the reasons I have the Daily Mastermind. I want to provide you some consistency that you can align with outside yourself to stay disciplined in your life. Then the 7th step is accountability. Now, I think a lot of people really leave this step out and the next one, but accountability is one of the most important things. And I don't just mean from a mentor or a friend or a partner. I think that is important. I'm talking about even to yourself. Tracking your progress, having a scorecard, finding ways to evaluate and hold yourself accountable for the commitments that you've made. Accountability is a super important step. And then finally, number 8 is persistence. Napoleon Hill talks about persistence is that hidden key that most people miss, but it's absolutely essential for success. And persistence is something that you've got to develop as well. And it's a skill that you can have where you resolve yourself to never give up. I believe that most people fail at the level of accountability and persistence because they just don't give it long enough. And so persistence is a real key. So these are the 8 steps that I think you need to relook at. You might be missing a couple of these. You might be falling down on all of them. But what I'm going to do is, we've got a lot of interviews that'll be dropping over the next little bit with some key successful people with great strategies, tactics, and ideas for you. But I'm going to dig deep into these 8 areas over the next little while, because I believe that sometimes on the surface we feel we have some of these covered, but it takes going deep with concepts. I think you've found that over time. It takes going deep with some of these areas to really, truly find the little niche that you're missing, or the piece that can help you to lock it in mentally. And so I want to give you examples and stories and case studies, strategies, and tactics you can use in each of these 8 areas. But I believe that if you want to create your best life, You need to constantly keep moving forward through these steps. So do me a favor and share this show. I hope it's given you at least some ideas to think about. That's my goal at the beginning of every week. We had a holiday yesterday, but today's the beginning of the week for a lot of you. And so I hope this is something that gets you refocused, realigned, and recommitted to creating your best life. And you're not just in the weeds. You're not just down in the weeds doing day to day, but you constantly realign yourself. And so that's my message for today. Do me a favor and share this episode. If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out, whether it's to celebrate some wins or even let me know what you're struggling with. Happy to help. Look forward to talking with you a little bit more tomorrow. Once again, my name is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day.